Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to yet another Cutter Top 10 NFL shaped video. And today we're going to be looking at the top 10 NFL broadcasters ever. These guys doing a lot of things with radio and TV and commentary and all that. So we've got ourselves some good ones. There are actually a couple of massive honorable mentions. Usually I don't do honorable mentions, but there are two of them. The first one is Kevin Harlan. The guy, he's got his distinguished voice. He's pretty good, on NFL radio with that streaker Rams against the Niners and all that. And, you know, he's got a good play. He even tried to broadcast two games at the same time, if you will, because one game was an update. But yeah, Kevin Harlan's got that distinguished voice. However, he doesn't get in the top 10 because Harlan, let's face it, is better for his basketball commentary. And a radio voice that was legendary did not make the list either. His name is Myron Cope. You know him for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the radio announcement and his high nasally voice. And now for the Steelers. He's the guy who actually invented the Immaculate Reception. When there was when he was doing his radio show, some Pittsburgh woman said something about the Immaculate Reception because of the Immaculate Conception in biblical terms. But yeah, Myron Cope was a legend in Pittsburgh radio broadcasting. All right. Number 10 is Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico is one of those commentators that are still in the business today. Mike Tirico brought ESPN fame. When Monday Night Football was on ESPN, he was one of the best commentators for that. And then when NBC got the rights to Sunday Night Football, he went over there and he's been a very good voice. He's a polished contemporary broadcaster. He has done many other events, such as basketball. His famous call when Damian Lillard beat Houston and got Portland their first playoff win in 14 years in 2014 was amazing too. And then number 9 is Joe Buck. Oh, sorry. Number 9 is Joe Buck. Now, Joe Buck is more of a baseball guy, technically. But Buck was the main voice of Fox for many, many years. I mean, I can't remember. Well, once Summerall retired, Joe Buck basically became the big NFL voice for Fox, paired up with Troy Aikman and all that. He was a major national voice for a generation. He would be the guy for Fox during the NFC playoffs and the Super Bowls, but with crisp, controlled style. Although some people call him annoying and all that, especially when he does the baseball. But Joe Buck was basically pushed aside at number 1 of the Fox thing for Joe Davis. I still say Joe Davis is a better baseball guy than football guy. But Joe Buck went on to Amazon and became their main guy, so, that's big. And of course, his pedigree is big because his father was Jack Buck, Cardinals' famous announcer, and he did NFL games too. Number 8 is Jim Nantz. Jim Nantz is the example that you can go from a studio guy to the play-by-play thing. When CBS got football back for the first time in a long time, because in 1994 they had the NFC and then they lost that to Fox, the fledgling network. And then when NBC left the NFL scene broadcasting, CBS took over the AFC games, and Jim Nantz was the guy in the studio and all that. Because it was like legendary members like Greg Gumbel and Gus Johnson who would do the games for CBS, among other people. Nantz was in the studio, and then inexplicably they decided to take him to the play-by-play booth in 2002 and put Greg Gumbel into the studio, even though Greg Gumbel was a pretty good play-by-play guy. Well, of course, they got James Brown from Fox, so that worked out quite well, giving Gumbel some time. Anyway, so yeah, Jim Nantz was the defining modern NFL voice. AFC games, Super Bowls, and then now with Tony Romo as his partner, he's gone pretty good. He's, of course, the voice of the Masters and a few other big events because it was elegant and steady. Number 7 is Frank Gifford. Frank Gifford was one of those examples of a guy going from color commentating to play-by-play seamlessly. Frank Gifford was a legendary runner for the New York Giants who lost a year because of Chuck Bednarik's hit on him, which created better player safety. And then Frank Gifford would become kind of a name for Monday Night Football. He would be one of the color commentators, well, alongside Harry Cosell, who would compliment like Keith Jackson and a few other main guys. But yeah, Frank Gifford by 1985 swapped color commentating with real commentating. He was the play-by-play guy for many years when ABC had Monday Night Football, and you know he was pretty impressive with his broadcast style, very accessible, unlike Mr. Cosell, who got himself into trouble way too often. Number 6 is Dick Enberg. Enberg was warm, polished, and versatile. I mean, Dick Enberg did some NBC baseball games, including that home run by John Lowenstein in 1979 that won the ALCS Game 1 against the Angels. Basketball, he would be a college basketball icon. He would do NBA games too. He was behind the mic when Seattle were shocked by Denver in the 94 playoffs. Not really for hockey, but what do you expect? Anyway, he's warm, polished, and versatile, as I said. 8 Super Bowls, very trusted voice in football broadcasting. He was kind of the main guy for CBS in a sense. No disrespect to Greg Gumbel, but Enberg, I always liked him with Dick Deerdorf. In fact, the Enberg and Deerdorf pairing actually made an appearance in a thing called Robbie the Reindeer when they were doing the reindeer games thing. Well, of course, adapted from BBC, they went with the American voices, and it was Enberg and Deerdorf doing those commentary things. So yeah, Dick Enberg was great. Did you know that he hosted a sports game show called Sports Challenge, which actually pitted members from teams gone by? I think there was one with members of the 1950s New York Yankees against the members of the 1950s Milwaukee Braves. But yeah, Dick Enberg was kind of a partial idol of mine and all that. Number 5 is Brent Musburger. Brent Musburger was a decent play-by-play guy, but he's more famously known for being the studio host for CBS's the NFL Today on CBS, which was a pretty good pregame show. Well, NBC did too, but CBS, Musburger was in the studio with Phyllis George, the Irv Cross, was it? I think it was Irv Cross, and in the studio, it was Jimmy the Greek Snyder. Of course, he would have the troubles with Phyllis George. Nevertheless, Musburger was the key studio host and would commentate whenever possible. I mean, for CBS, he did some games, of course, for college football as well. And then Musburger went over to NBC. Didn't really do much. Yeah, Musburger didn't do a lot of football play-by-play after his move to CBS, but from CBS to NBC. But Musburger knew what to do and all that. And of course, his famous line, "You are looking live," and then he would give the stadium and all that. Impressive. Number 4 is Kurt Gowdy. He's a national voice of pro football. Although I gotta say, Kurt Gowdy was more of a baseball commentator, but that's me. He brought gravitas to the AFL when NBC and ABC had the American Football League, the rival league of the NFL. Then he went to the NFL and championship level broadcast. He was the guy behind the mic on the Immaculate Reception for NBC. Bradshaw floating, bounces around. It's kind of the air, right? Franco Harris. Harris is over through. Franco Harris. And then he goes, "When you believe in Christmas miracles, this is the miracle of all of them." Bradshaw didn't know where the ball was. So yeah, so Kurt Gowdy was pretty impressive as a play-by-play guy. Number 3 is Al Michaels, still in his 80s and still doing some broadcasting stuff, but not really in the NFL. Anyway, he was smooth, precise, and unflappable. Al Michaels was a pretty good NFL guy. He was the guy who took over Monday Night Football in a sense, being the broadcaster, and then he was there for Monday Night Football alongside John Madden. a few other people. And then he went to Sunday Night Football when he went from ABC to NBC, which was a massive shift. But it helped Mike Tirico get to do Monday Night Football. And then he did Super Bowls, he did a lot of them. And remember his call in Super Bowl 34 in 2000. Caught by Dyson, he's going to be 1 yard short. No, he didn't cross the line. So Al Michaels was just this great voice. Number 2 is Pat Summerall. Pat Summerall is the gold standard of understated play-by-play. Oh, yes, sir. His come authority defined Sunday football for decades. But unlike most people on this list, he actually was a former player. Well, like Frank Gifford. Pat Summerall was the kicker for the New York Giants for many years and was part of the 50 squads and all that. Pat Summerall came from the University of Arkansas. Of course, it warms my heart. And then Summerall became a play-by-play guy for CBS. He would be paired up with Tom Brookshire. Unfortunately, those two kind of were not really a good pairing and reliable. Brookshire would kind of give Pat Summerall some problems. Summerall did have a drinking problem, but then he stopped once he knew his job was on the line. And then, of course, he got this new analyst, and they defined everything in the 80s and 90s before he retired in 2002. He came back a little bit for 2006, but, so. And who is this analyst? Why, number 1, and everyone knows it. If you don't know this guy's broadcasting career, you know this guy's title name for NFL football, and his name is John Madden. He was a massive NFL analyst, made football understandable, more entertaining, vivid, with his boom and his telestrator, which was a gold standard. The guy could coach. He coached Oakland for many years. He won the Super Bowl in 1977 with them. Retired. Well, he kind of had a problem with train travel. He couldn't travel by plane. He would have to go in his Madden Cruiser or by train. But yeah, but John Madden knew what the assignment, and then Madden became a good analyst, and CBS knew they had gold in their hands, so they decided to give Madden a chance with Pat Summerall, and it worked. Summerall and Madden were basically the TV commentary of the 1980s. Summerall at the mic and Madden giving his expert opinions, and then, even though that CBS lost the NFC schedule, Fox got it. Fox welcomed Madden and Summerall. And yeah, they continued on for Fox till 2002. And of course, their massive banter during the Tom Brady drive in 2002, where basically Madden says that the Patriots are going to probably just run it down for overtime. And Summerall's like, well, wait just a minute. And then Madden said he was wrong about Tom Brady. Well, that is what he does. So that's all I've got. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.